this is courage, and I try to call myself to it every day, and I often fail. You don't have much to offer, but you're willing to put your piece on the table as if this were a potluck supper, right? That we were building, that we were creating together. And if everybody keeps bringing a hot dish or whatever the East Coast equivalent of that is, pretty soon we'll have a meal that will feed everyone. So rebellion can be that very small thing of swimming upstream against a tide of cynicism or against a tide of scarcity, and trying to witness to that in your life day in and day out. And it can really, really make you hurt. As I've said in my writing and in my talking, 3 times in my adult life, I have been plunged into deep depression for 6, 8 months at a time. There's a cost to be paid. Depression isn't the cost that everyone pays, but I'm working with some people now in the world of internet startups who are very, very concerned about the rash of suicides that happened a few years ago among relatively young and some middle-aged internet startup folks, where the success rate is only 10%, and a lot of money is at stake, and a lot of people's jobs are at stake, and they've taken this all on themselves, and they're not getting any sleep, and they can't find any peace. And I know from my own journey where that goes, and it goes into deep darkness from which some people don't recover. So, you know, we really need to be talking with each other about these things. Depression, although it's talked about more than it was in the 50s, is still a taboo subject in our society, especially among, quote, successful people. And we need to stop that. We need to go public with it, because we are each other's healthcare workers.
Yeah, and I think, and not just people who are successes, but people who are trying to make a difference in the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, Do It Anyway grew out of an experience for me, which was, you know, leaving college. I went to Barnard College, and I was kind of pumped up on my human rights education. I wanted to go do something in the world. This is 2002. And, you know, it was a really rough time to be a young, idealistic person who wanted to...
You were a senior in college, starting your senior year when September 11th happened.
Yeah, experienced September 11th, and then, you know, I was part of the anti-war marches. I woke my friends up out of their hungover stupor and said, like, you're coming to this march with me, and they're like, Courtney, because I mean, that's another thing, is the rebellion is sort of square these days. Like, if you make your friends go to marches, they're like, really, marches are not going to make the change. And I'm like, no, we got to be there. We got to be bodies on the street. And then, you know, it's called a focus group.
That's an interesting dialogue for us to be having.
Yeah, but I mean, and then President Bush